We need to have these talks. We need to remove the stigma. And you need to know that even though I'm that bubbly girl on TV, I had times where I was considering self-harm. And for someone like me to talk about that, I think is important.
Building a business is tough and doing it alone even tougher. Welcome to She Talks, your go-to podcast for raw, relatable and ridiculously useful business advice. I'm Lisa Jones and I'm both a mum and a serial entrepreneur, and I'm here to help share real stories and proven strategies to help you scale up your business. Let's do this together. Okay, ladies, if you've been feeling tired, moody, anxious, or just off and you're wondering, is this burnout or am I losing my mind? It could actually be perimenopause. And my guest this week is here to blow the lid off this topic. Shelly Horton, TV presenter, journalist, and author of I'm Your Peri Godmother, is on a mission to kick perimenopause in the ovaries and help women reclaim their energy, their confidence, and their joy. We go there. The surprising symptoms no one warns you about, why HRT is not the scary thing you've been told it is, and how to unapologetically take up space in this world. It's educational, it's empowering, it's funny as hell, and honestly, I walked away from this chat feeling lighter, braver, and just more me. So pop your headphones in and let's have the conversation every woman needs to hear. This is one you're going to want to send to your girlfriends immediately. Shelly, I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. I am so excited I don't even know where to start. So let's start with welcome.
That's a pretty good place to start. So nice to be here.
Yes, I do like that. Welcome to the podcast. And I'm going to start with the most relevant thing today for you, because you just shared what your week looks like, because you are launching a book this week and I want to know all about it.
Okay, so it is called I'm Your Peri Godmother. I actually have one right here. Look, it is a happily ever after guide to kicking perimenopause in the ovaries. So that kind of gives you an idea of the tone of the book. And you know what? It has been a hectic couple of weeks launching, but on the very first day, it sold out on Amazon. Day one.
That is epic. Well done.
So yes, it's going very, very well.
That's just massive congratulations on that. I mean, success in supporting any woman in success is exciting, but talking about a topic that is, I am on the precipice of perimenopause, and I'm very excited to welcome you to the potty today, because so many of our beautiful listeners here at She Talks are women of our age, and I think a lot of us are like staring down the barrel of, well, is that perimenopause when I wake up with sweaty legs in the night? Like if I just barked at my husband, oh my God, is it perimenopause? So I want to talk about lots of stuff on the body today. I want to talk about humor and lightheartedness and 0 days and all kinds of fun stuff. But let's start with perimenopause. Like, what do we need to know?
Okay, so I think the reason that I wrote the book is I went into perimenopause 5 years ago in 2020, and no one was talking about it then. So I didn't even know what the symptoms were to look out for. I didn't know what was coming. And I feel like there's this huge secret women's business, you know, where it's like my mum hadn't told me anything. My work colleagues are all different ages, so no one was really the same age as me. But I started with some heart palpitations. But, you know, I mentioned it was 2020. Remember, there was something else going on in 2020, a little thing called a pandemic. So I kind of figured it was just that. Then I, like 1 in 3 women, started getting some perimenopausal depression. Now, I am so fortunate that I have never had poor mental health before in my life. But because I didn't know that this could be a hormonal thing, again, I just thought I wasn't coping. And I didn't get traditional hot flushes where they kind of, you know, whoosh, it's a hot flush. It was more that my body temperature just went up about 3 degrees. I was just hotter all the time. And so I just put up with everything. And I think this is one of the main messages is when I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't do anything about it. I just soldiered on, pushed through. And then it wasn't until, and this is, you know, it's an overshare, but it's not even because we just have to talk about this
we
stuff.
love overshares here.
So
Let it out, girlfriend.
I had an IUD called a Marina, and I loved my Marina. I'd had it replaced 3 times. So I had not had a period in 12 years. But due to perimenopause, I had an Armageddon period where I bled through my clothes. It was so bad. So it was only that symptom that got me to go to a doctor. Now, unfortunately, not all doctors know about perimenopause and menopause, which is appalling considering it's 50% of the population and 100% of women who live long enough. So when I went to this GP, which was just like a bulk billing place because I'm a tired ass, but when I told her about the bleeding, she's like, "Oh, when you've got bleeding with an IUD, could be cancer." Thanks for that. So she sent me off for an internal ultrasound and to get my bloods done. Now, we also know now that your hormones change every single day. So a blood test is not a way of diagnosing perimenopause. So when I went in the next day to get my results, she's like, "Great news. You haven't got cancer. Your bloods are fine. You're just obviously not handling your stress very well. And maybe you should take up a hobby." What the?
Mm-hmm.
So
A bit indicative of our general medical system, I would
it
say.
really is.
Not the
It
topic
really is.
today, but
And blaming me, not anything else. So unfortunately, what that meant was I went home in tears and I did not see another GP for nearly 9 months. And my symptoms spiraled and spiraled. And I got to the point where I was circling the drain. Like my depression was so bad that I was crying at least once a day. I was having trouble getting out of bed some days. And I considered Channel 9 one of my clients, but my favorite client in that I have been working with them for 10 years. And I go in and I debate the news of the day live on TV for 20 minutes, right? That takes a whole lot of, confidence and energy. And I found I could do it, but I was definitely faking it till you make it. But what would happen was it would take such a toll on me that I'd be crying in the car on the way home, and then my poor husband would just put me to bed for the rest of the day. So it got to the point where I was like, something's got to give. It's going to be Channel 9. Like I can't do it anymore. And that's when my husband, who is an earth angel, Darren, he sat me down and he said, "Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with you, but I think there might be something wrong with the chemicals in your brain. So why don't we go and see someone about it together?"
oh my God.
How great is that?
That is incredible. And not many husbands are that in tune with their wives. I love that.
Yeah. So he actually made the appointment with another GP. That GP had been trained about perimenopause and menopause. So once I walked into that appointment, I just cried the whole appointment. He was the one who told her what had been going on. And she's like, "Oh, sweetheart, this is just perimenopause. We can fix this." So she's like, "I'm going to put you on some HRT and I'm going to put you on an antidepressant." Now, what we know now, 5 years later, antidepressants are not the way to treat perimenopausal depression. But at the time, we didn't really know that. And also I was a fairly severe case. So I don't begrudge her putting me on that antidepressant. I think I needed it. But now we know it's a hormonal issue. So therefore HRT is the way to treat it. So yeah, it got pretty bad and pretty dark for me. And I think I just felt once I started to feel well again, instead of feeling grateful that I was feeling well, I got freaking mad. And I'm like, screw this. If I slip through the cracks, who else is slipping through the cracks? I'm going to be loud and proud about this so I can help other women.
I love that. I just did a social post the other day talking about hemorrhoids. I feel like there are these things that women just don't talk about. My husband says he's never met anyone who talks about poo as much as I do. But everybody shits, so why don't we talk about it? It makes no sense to me.
I think look, sometimes say, I was mad at my mum for not warning me, but now I'm mad for her because their generation they weren't ever educated about it. They were never told that they could speak about it. It was so much of that stiff upper lip and you just soldier on, and that doesn't help anyone.
No. So I'm so in love with this conversation, Shelly, because my brain is like, I literally am forgetting to talk to you because I'm so fascinated by what you're sharing. You are so beautifully spoken. But also my brain is like, wait, that symptom and that one, And that one, do I have perimenopause? And then I instantly have, and I'm so interested to hear how you reply to this. My audience of beautiful women are super overwhelmed. I literally was on the floor in the kitchen last night crying to my beautiful husband, who is my earth angel. And he's got a notebook out and he's like talking me off the ledge. And he's like, sweetheart, let's make some notes on this side of the page. Let's put all the good things in your life right now. And on the other side of the page, let's put some of the challenges. And then he's like, now, how long have you been running your own companies? And I'm like, 17 years. And he's like, right. So sprint, collapse, collapse for 17 years without a real break. Like, dude, I'm pretty sure you're actually just cooked. And so I don't know if I'm just cooked or if I'm perimenopause, or how do you tell the difference?
Well, I don't know if you can tell the difference, because to me, and I've been running my own business for 10 years, and I think that we need to stop wearing busyness and overwhelm as a badge of honor. And it's not a form of resilience. It's actually just a gateway to burnout. And I have been at burnout many times. I would say the difference is, when I was at burnout previously, when it wasn't my hormones, it was very work related. My brain was exhausted. When it's perimenopause, you've got a whole lot of other symptoms as well. So you might still feel exhausted, but if you're getting night sweats, if you're getting hot flashes, oh my God, I'm not American, hot flushes, if you are having joint pain, if you are not sleeping well, if you're having insomnia, I think the first key sign is irregular periods. 90% of women have irregular periods once they start going into peri. So for me, it's a case of you need to educate yourself about the symptoms before you self-diagnose. Like, you need to read up all about it. There's a fantastic book I can recommend. It's called Your Peri Godmother.
I'm Your Peri Godmother. And where can we buy it?
You can buy it in bookstores. You can get it on Amazon. They've now restocked. And it's in Audible if you just want me in your ear holes. So I can read it to you. It's what I wish I'd had at the time, because there were medical books about menopause. There weren't even medical books about perimenopause. And perimenopause is hectic. And what I didn't know is it can last 4 to 10 years before menopause. So we're not even using the right terminology. So perimenopause is the 10 years of hormonal roller coaster. Menopause is one day. It is just the day that signals 12 months without a period. And then every day after that is postmenopausal. So
that's
it's
not
kind
taught
of crazy.
To us.
No one's taught that. We're not in schools. All they want you to do is stop getting pregnant. That's all they care about. But no one talks about the fact that it's like a late puberty, so your hormones are all over the place. Your skin is breaking out. Your vag gets dry, like everything. So let me tell you that, yes, burnout and exhaustion and overwhelm is awful, and you have to take care of yourself. But get that and add another 15 symptoms, and that's peri.
Right. And as you're talking, I'm like, no, I think mine is burnout, because it's mostly in my brain. My body has got, I have a Marina, by the way, like, let's have a Marina moment, love. When I decided that I couldn't deal with my periods anymore because they were just outrageously bad, I was like, I asked my Facebook community, Marina or to not Marina. And it was like hundreds of comments, and it was 50-50 divided. Worst thing I ever did, best thing I ever did, and nothing in the middle. And so I was like, well, what have I got to lose? And so I got one like 5 years ago, basically, and it changed my life overnight. Yeah. All periods are pretty much largely gone. Thing is, I'm coming up to 5 years now, and I'm like, I really need to replace that suck up. It doesn't feel very good. But I'm kind of going with the...
Why? Replace it.
Yeah.
That's like saying someone who's diabetic, oh, I don't really want to take insulin anymore. Yeah. Just take it. It makes you feel better.
Yes. I think you're right. 100% think you're right. But they do say around perimenopause, you can go 7 years with a Marina. So I'm like wondering.
No, that's not even true.
That's it. It's time.
I'm here to be like your Peri Godmother who goes, no, shut up. Stop it. Stop getting information on Facebook. Do not.
Yes.
Do not get your information on Facebook. You want evidence-based information. go to my book, go to someone else's book, but do not just go on what someone said and what they reckon. Every woman's experience will be different, but you need the evidence-based information. And saying something like you can keep your Mirena for 7 years, that's not going to help you and help your perimenopause. You need to be replacing your hormones and making sure that you are at your absolute best.
Got it. So let's talk recovery then. We've talked about symptoms, and I'm so interested in the HR. I don't even know what HRT is. I'm assuming it's some kind of hormone therapy where it's a drug that you take. Tell us what it is, and then like what was it like for you when you started taking it?
So HRT has had a terrible rap because of a very flawed study in 2002 called the Women's Health Initiative Study, and that came out claiming that HRT causes breast cancer. That has since been completely debunked, and every menopause expert in the world, every menopause society says HRT is the gold standard for treating perimenopause and menopause. It basically is replacing your estrogen and your progesterone, and if you choose, testosterone as well. I go yes to the testosterone.
What?
So,
why? Tell me.
Testosterone is another female hormone. It's not a male hormone. So we're not taught that either. Women often have more testosterone than men when they're growing up. Yeah, like we need to learn more about our hormones. So yes, there was a lot of controversy about it, but the way terms that I would put it in is estrogen is like your Beyonce hormone. It's the one that gives you the energy. It runs the show. It's the diva. Progesterone is the one, I call it the Snoop Dogg. It chills you out. It reduces anxiety. It helps you sleep. And in perimenopause, those are misfiring all over the place. And testosterone, who's like your wingman, is just fallen off a cliff. So you need to replace those hormones to get back to feeling really well. Now, there are some women who choose not to do HRT, and I am all about choice. If you do not want to do that, your choice. However, make it an educated choice where you're saying, I have made a decision that I do not want to put, a gel on my arms and take a tablet at night. That's fine. Don't say, I read on Facebook that it causes breast cancer, or my mum had breast cancer, so I can't do it. That's not true. The only people who cannot take HRT is if you've personally had breast cancer yourself, and some people who have some blood clot disorders or stroke. So it's such a minute part of the population. And even women who've had breast cancer before, I've got 2 case studies in my book of women who've had breast cancer and are on HRT now. So they've made an educated decision that their risk profile for getting cancer again was lower than their risk profile of perhaps self-harm. So you need to be educated about all of that stuff. The other thing you need to know is when you're losing estrogen and progesterone, it has a massive impact on the body. So it strips your bones. So basically when estrogen leaves the body, I say that it turns your bones into aero bars. Basically, that's why we have so many women who have hip fractures. And what we know now is if they were on HRT, there's a 50% less chance of actually having a break. Like, it's crazy how much it helps. It also helps your brain and your heart. So if you're choosing not to do HRT, you need to make sure that you are doing things to help your brain, heart, and your bones.
So you start taking HRT and what happens? Like how quickly and what happened to your terrible symptoms?
So for me, I want to really make sure that people don't think that it's the golden ticket and everything's better. No, you're just replacing the hormones that were missing. Unfortunately for me, my depression was so bad that was the main symptom I had to deal with, as well as the very heavy bleeding. So my Mirena was just bobbing around in a sea of blood, like it was not doing anything. So my psychiatrist, because I needed proper help for my mental health, she was the one who asked me to have my Mirena removed so that she could wean me off the antidepressants and up my dose of HRT so that we could get my body right. And we had to try 4 different types of HRT until I found the one that was you've got to kiss a few frogs before you find your prince. I now use estrogel and prometrium, which is, you can rub it on your arms or your butt or, somewhere where you don't have any sun damage. And that's your energy. And then your prometrium at night is the one that helps you sleep. And I've got a testosterone gel as well. So yeah, it wasn't a quick fix. I have girlfriends though, whose symptoms weren't as severe as mine. And they said they felt better within a month. I took longer, but I think that's because, again, I didn't get help early enough and I let the symptoms get to quite a severe state.
What if investing in your business came with a guaranteed return? Growing an e-commerce brand can feel like guesswork, but it doesn't have to be. Here at SheCom Academy, we take the uncertainty out of building a business with expert coaching, a proven roadmap, and 24/7 support from women who've done it before. And we don't just promise results, we guarantee them. You'll see a 3 times return on your investment in Academy within 12 months, or we'll keep working with you for free until you do. No risk or reward. Want to know if Academy is right for you? Book a quick wins call with our team and let's find your next right move together. Head to shecom.co to book your quick wins call now. So let's talk about mental health then, because I also feel like this, like hemorrhoids and like perimenopause, are just not talked about that prevalently with women. And I am quite happy to declare to the world that I take an anti-anxiety, and I have for, 10 years, maybe 8 or 9, a long time. And I feel actually just today started my 14-year-old teenager on an anti-anxiety too. And I feel life is big and I feel really great on my anti-anxiety. It makes a huge difference to taking the edge off anxiety. Like, what's your experience been with weaning off an antidepressant, and how much does therapy versus the drugs that can stabilize our moods and our brain, like what's your take on this?
I am 100% in favor of any anti-anxiety or anti-depression medication if it is your regular form. If it is perimenopause, or so caused by hormones, then it's different. So if you had postnatal depression after having a baby, you are almost 100% guaranteed to have perimenopausal depression. If you had PMS or PPMD, I think that's what it is, the really hormonal swings with your periods, you really have to look after yourself. So I kind of feel like we need to separate perimenopausal depression and regular depression, because I think that they're two very different beasts. My experience with coming off the antidepressants was terrifying. I was so scared, but I did it very carefully with my GP and my psychiatrist hand in hand. I was weaned off very slowly. Like, it honestly took months to reduce, because you'd reduce for a week, then reduce again for another week. But for me, one thing that happened when I was on the antidepressants is I put on 10 kilos almost instantly. It killed my libido completely, and I felt a bit numb. So I liked knowing what my body was like when I was not on it. But I never, ever, ever want to say to someone, if you feel like you need an antidepressant, you should take it. Like, I don't ever want to say to someone that they shouldn't. I'm just saying that for perimenopausal depression, it's not the best treatment. So a lot of GPs will prescribe it as an easy fix, but it's not an easy fix. It's actually not going to help it. But I think I'm the same as you. Like, we need to have these talks. We need to remove the stigma. And you need to know that even though I'm that bubbly girl on TV, I had times where I was, considering self-harm. And for someone like me to talk about that, I think is important, because I did a story on A Current Affair recently about perimenopausal depression, and my DMs blew up. And it was just women saying, thank you, I feel seen, I'm not going crazy, I need to get some help. And this is how we look after each other. This is how we support each other. And I think once you know, I'm so well now. I'm the healthiest I've been in, I would say, 20 years. I feel great. So I feel like I don't want to just sit in the doom and gloom. I want to go, I got well, but you know what? I had to do the work. So yes, there was an antidepressant. Yes, there was HRT, but there was also therapy, there was also massive lifestyle changes. I walk every day. I now do strength training. I protect my sleep. Oh my God. I look at how I disregarded sleep when I was younger, and I'm like, you idiot. Now I almost treat myself like a toddler. I have a bedtime, but I know if I get, 7 hours sleep a night, I cope with everything better. And I really feel that even if you're not in perimenopause, sleep is something I want all of your entrepreneurs who are listening to think about, because we tend to push ourselves so hard, and you'll just finish those emails at 11 o'clock at night and then try and jump into bed. And it just doesn't work that way anymore. So yes, sleep is a really big one for me.
Give us some tips on sleep. I feel like you're right. And I think for a lot of my listeners, my youngest child is now 14, but there are a lot of our listeners that are still with young children. And it was fun. I went to a first birthday party last weekend, and most of my kids are adults, or as I said, the youngest is 14. So it's been a red hot minute since I've been at a 1-year-old's birthday party. It was instantaneous for me that my mum biological thing turned on, and I was like instantly alert because there were kids climbing off banisters and flinging themselves off staircases, and I suddenly went into this, like, I was so conscious that my hyperdrive came up, and I was like on, and I couldn't relax, and I was talking to people, and halfway through I was looking around the room, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot how fucking awful that is. I came home and I had to have a sleep. I was like exhausted. So sleep is different at all different points in our life, and like you, I am a bear. Some nights I am 7:30 and I am tapped. My family put me to bed and they know, do not talk to me until 5:30 the next morning. And I'm religious about my sleep. But tell our beautiful listeners, what do they need to know about getting better sleep? None of us are getting it.
So it is something you have to work at. So first of all, you need a regular bedtime. So your body and your brain loves a regular bedtime. So for me, it's 9:30. So I actually have an alarm on my phone. So if I am busy doing emails, or if I'm caught up watching Netflix, it actually goes, turn the freaking TV off and go to bed. Couple of things that are they've got a lot of science behind them are things like, make sure your room is super dark. So if you can get those block-out blinds or something like that, having a dark room promotes sleep. The other thing that really helps is having a cool room. So if you've got aircon, having your room colder than the rest of the house, because if your body temperature drops by just 1%, 1 degree, it instantly helps you go to sleep. Then the other thing is, and this is the thing that I'm shit at, is staying off your devices.
I was wondering if you're going to mention that. When you said the alarm goes off and I go to bed, I'm like, but where was your hour buffer, girlfriend? No blue light before you go to bed.
So I try so hard. That's the thing that I probably fail at the most. But what I have done is I have changed from doom scrolling in bed. And what I do is I pop in my earpods and I put on an audiobook. So I'm addicted to Audible. But what I also suggest is don't be listening to a self-help book or a business book where you're learning. I have to disappear into a novel. I need my brain to go into absolute neutral, even though my favorite thing to listen to is crime stories, which is like, people getting murdered. And I'm like, and I'm relaxed.
Psychoanalyze that, Freud.
Yeah, right. So for me, and I just set a 20-minute timer so that it turns off. This morning I woke up, my earbud was somehow at the base of the bed. I don't know what happened to it. Now, the other thing is, using sleep aids is completely okay. So melatonin is not addictive. You can get that via script if you are under 55. If you're over 55, you can buy it over the counter. That is a non-addictive sleep aid. There's a lot of science for magnesium and having magnesium baths and taking magnesium to help. Like, I don't hate magnesium, but I want something that I know is going to work straight away. Whereas magnesium, you tend to need to use it for a consistent amount of time to have it build up in your system. So, yeah. And the other thing that has been recommended is having a worry list. So if you go to bed and you're worried that you're going to forget about something tomorrow, or you're worried, write it all down so it's out of your head. It's there. It's a list, and then you can cross that list off tomorrow, but you don't have to lie in bed worrying about it. So a worry list, I think, is something that can be really helpful, particularly if you're running your own business.
I just recently, probably in the last 6 months on a trip to the States, picked up a brand called Lemmy, Lemme, and they do sleep gummies. They do a bunch of gummies, de-stress, really interesting and very clean ingredients. And their evening sleep gummy is literally melatonin and magnesium in a gummy form. And so my daughter, my husband and I most nights have our little sleep gummies. And I think, well, if it's only melatonin and magnesium, it isn't hurting anything. And my 14-year-old...
Not hurting you at all.
Yeah.
It's not hurting you. And I also think with some of those things that there might be a slight placebo effect. And I love placebo effect.
Who doesn't mind?
Because I'm like, great.
Who cares if it works or not?
Yeah, right. I take my melatonin. I'm like, great, I'm going to get a really good sleep tonight. And I do. I don't know if it's actually the melatonin working or if it's me just deciding I'm going to have a great sleep. Yeah. I will lean into that. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, we have a similar sleep ritual. I'm not Audible, I'm Kindle, but I Kindle. And also for a businesswoman, I cannot do podcasts or business books in my bed. My bedroom is purely fiction, and the rom-commier, the better. It's like I do not want to engage my intellectual brain. Yeah. I want to put myself to sleep in a warm bath of adultery and love. And I literally and I can read 2 pages and I fall asleep with a smile on my face. And the only other sleep ritual I do have, which is really powerful for me, is that I have affirmation cards. And I have this cute little holder on my bedside table, and I've one card I haven't changed it out for like a year, and it's something like financial abundance comes easily and effortlessly to me. And I read it the last thing before I go to sleep at night and the first thing when I wake up every morning. And I just feel energetically that has to be powerful to be framing a shitty day or a stressful or a something. And it's like, okay, money comes easily to me. Yes, it does. Go to sleep, girlfriend. Yeah, I think those things are really powerful.
So do I. And then the other thing that's really important is your wake up routine. So having a consistent time that you get up and then getting outside and going for a walk, getting some vitamin D. I was shocked, particularly for perimenopausal women, their vitamin D levels plummet. And I'm like, I live on the Gold Coast. How can I not be getting enough vitamin D? But I use so much sunscreen and cover up that I actually had to change to wearing shorts and a t-shirt. So my arms and legs I'll still be putting my 50 plus on my face and wearing a hat because I just can't imagine not doing that. But yeah, the GP actually, I had to go onto a vitamin D supplement because I wasn't getting enough vitamin D in the sunshine state. But that's also about setting your rhythm for the day and, again, getting that routine. So you've got a routine bedtime and a routine waking up time, and that's what the brain loves. It likes consistency.
So let's talk about hormones and brains and wake times then, because I'm so interested to hear. I wake sometimes around 3 a.m., sometimes
3 a.m.
4. Occasionally it's 5 and rarely it's 6. So usually I'm awake by 5. And I thought, wow, it's a superpower. How clever am I? And somebody recently said to me, nope, I think that's a rogue hormone that's playing havoc in your body. What do you think?
So 3 a.m. is the key. And that is a very big hormonal sign that perimenopause might be coming your way.
Oh, shit.
So 3 a.m., it's also often when women want to get up and do a wee, because you've been drinking so much water during the day. So the other thing to do is have vaginal estrogen, which not only keeps you moist downstairs, but it also helps control your bladder, stops UTIs. And for me, I don't get up to wee at night anymore. I sleep straight through. So there's so many benefits there. But yeah, the 3 a.m. wake up is often you might have had a temperature spike that you're not even aware of. It might not be that you wake up dripping in sweat. It just might be that your body went up by a couple of degrees and that's what woke you up. But 3 a.m. is consistently the time that they go, oh yeah, that's the peri time. And for some women, they can't get back to sleep.
That's me.
Some women have no problem getting to sleep, but once you're awake at 3, it's a nightmare. So, yeah, there's actually a form of psychotherapy called CBTI, which is the cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. It's a quite intense, 6 sessions you have to do over 6 weeks, but that's about how to train yourself to get back to sleep so that you don't have that panic. And then the panic then keeps you awake.
Yeah, it's my brain. It's like I call it the monkey brain. It turns on and then I'm like analyzing a million things about the business and problems I can solve. And so I have long known that my brain is really powerful, way more powerful than my body. And it goes, shut the fuck up, body. I've taken over. Right.
Yeah.
Not very fun though, is it?
No, not at all.
Let's talk about something else now. Like I know that you have a We Don't Care club, and I'm so interested in just had a look at your socials lately, and what I'm admiring most about you, Shelly, is I suppose bold, funny, and unapologetic are three things that would definitely be said about you. And I know, spending a fair bit of time in America, that they are so much more capable of bigness in America. But here in Australia, we play so freaking small, and there's such a tall poppy syndrome here, and almost like a elbowing each other and a look at her because she dares to be loud and unapologetic. And I definitely poke bears with that one by talking about hemorrhoids and swearing on air. But that's just me. I love for you that you're this amazing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that, and We Don't Care.
So the We Do Not Care Club is honestly my daily dose of joy. So it was started in America by Melanie Sanders, and she basically was in the middle of a hot flush, sitting in her car after being at the supermarket, and her bra wasn't fitting. She was a sweaty mess, and she just said, I just do not care. Like, I haven't even got matching shoes on. I just do not care. And she just said, what do you not care about? This is for perimenopausal women. And it didn't just go viral, it went global viral. And she's now got like 1.5 million followers. And so she's encouraged everyone to start their own chapters of the We Do Not Care Club. I have put my hand up to run the Australian chapter, and I love it. It is basically, it's run by the comment section. So it's whatever anyone wants to say that they do not care about this week goes into the next weekly minutes. And I have women commenting from Nigeria and Holland and from Scotland. Like, it is the most incredible bonding sisterhood. And even though we're poking fun at perimenopause, you know what? Sometimes you gotta laugh, otherwise you'll cry. And I have just found these women just hilarious, and it just, it fills my cup up. But so, for example, one of the comments, I wasn't even in one of my videos, but in someone else's videos, they said, we do not care. So you have to start it with like, we do not care. So we do not care about reality TV shows. We only care about true crime docos. And I want to know why Tracy Lee killed her husband in 1993. And then I replied, I reckon he had it coming. And then someone else replied, I'm here with a shovel. I'm ready to bury a body. And then I replied saying, we ride at dawn. And then someone else replied saying, can we make it 10? I'm really tired. Like, so it's just this beautiful interaction, and we have a laugh. But there's also an element to it. So I end my book talking about menopausal zest, and the last chapter is called Giving Zero Fucks. That's what it's about. And you get to that point where you are not weighed down by other people's expectations and judgments anymore. You do not care about that. So it is actually a very empowering and positive experience. And I know, like, I'm child-free by choice, but I know so many mums who have themselves at the absolute bottom of the to-do list. And We Do Not Care Club is more about putting yourself up towards the top. And I just cannot love it more. And Melanie's bought my book, so I'm so excited about that.
That's so epic. So give our listeners your top couple of tips on how to not give a shit about what other people think about you. I want to know, what can you teach us today?
So I think the thing is, you need to realize that you think about yourself more than anyone else thinks about you. So, for example, I do not care about how I look in a swimsuit. I want to go for a swim. It feels beautiful. If someone else doesn't like the look of my tummy or my bum, their fucking problem, not mine. So I think it's sort of where you have to realize, I mean, I used to go to the gym in Sydney and be quite anxious because I would be the biggest girl in the class as a size 16. And I realized everyone was looking at themselves in the mirror. They weren't looking at me. So I think we need to realize to look outwards rather than think that people are judging, because they're honestly not. And no one's going to stand up at your funeral and go, you know what? She looked great in a bikini. They're going to say she was kind, she was funny. These are not things that you can weigh. So I think that we really need to look after ourselves and not beat ourselves up like we did when we were younger.
Is there an inner confidence mantra or practice that we could embody every day that would help us to get the guts to just be okay? Because it's one thing to say, I'm going to wear whatever swimmers I want. And I love that, by the way. I also, at 47 years old, never in anything except a cheeky bikini these days. And I don't care if anyone likes it or not. That's what I like to wear. So I love that. But I think a lot of women really are, if we think about parents and then school and then society and then husbands and families around us, this is a big stretch for some women. What could you give us as tips on how to re-mantra that in our head?
Maybe have a mantra, something like, don't be weighed down by the judgment of other people. It's time for you to take up space. Don't play small. Everything that society, limits women with is all about making us smaller, whether it's a thinner body or not being a loud person. Like, everything is about making it smaller. I'm like, no, this is zero fucks time. So it's time to actually go, I back myself. I deserve this. And I have lived a life. I've learned some hard lessons and I've made it through. And I am so proud of who I am today. There's no way I'm going to play small. Like, I really think this is what we need.
I'm like envisaging a vision board of like the zero fucks era with all the photos, pictures that are inspo of like who I would like to be and what I would like to wear. And I just think that would be pretty epic. Bigger, bolder, braver.
This top that I'm wearing, if people are watching us online, is from Motto. It's an amazing company in Melbourne, and it's a mother-daughter duo. And Faye, the mother, is 70 and the daughter is in her 30s, and we're in our fuck it era. That's the range. And I'm like, oh, I love that.
Lauren and Faye are friends of mine. They're
really
cool humans. Yes, they are. And I know all about their fuck it era. I love it.
I think that sums it up perfectly. And Faye looks $1,000,000 and she will not be told to dress for a certain appropriate age.
No, if you guys don't know, go check out Motto Fashions and have a look at Faye and just how bold and gutsy she is at her age, and her beautiful daughter, Lauren, who is just the calm behind the Faye storm. It's very beautiful to watch and a really cool brand. And you're right, they do have pretty fun out there clothes that are really affordable. And I love that you're an ambassador for them, are you? I see you wearing them a bit. That's epic.
I love it.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, last thing I want to talk about on the potty today is just your 0 day. I really, in the pre-podcast scripts that my team prepped for me, this really jumped out at me. And I want to tell listeners that I have about 6 months now, I've said to the team, I don't work Fridays. There's 60 staff here. I'm sorry. I know you guys are epic, but you've got it on a Friday. I'm not there. And instead it's my day at home. It's my life admin or my date day with my husband, or maybe it's just a bed day. And then I read, and you've taken it from like a 5 out of 10 to like a 10 out of 10. 0 day. What is your 0 day?
Okay. So for me, again, running my own business, there is always something to do. There is always emails to reply to. There is always something that you need. But you know what? A 0 day is just what it sounds like. 0. So I do not answer any work emails on a 0 day. I have a walk on the beach with my puppy dogs. I come home. I don't even do life admin. I don't do the shopping. I don't do the washing. It is one day. Everything else can wait for one day. And I will binge watch trashy TV. It's like Grey's Anatomy or whatever it is that I'm catching up on. I am doing that, cuddling the puppy dogs. If my husband's there, I'm happy for him to join him. He doesn't particularly like my choice of TV. So often I'll, be watching by myself. And then I'll do like nap. Like, how great is a nap? So having absolutely no expectations. Now, I used to use my 0 days and catch up with a friend for coffee because I'm like, I'm an extrovert. That's what fills me up. And you know what? That is not a 0 day. So a 0 day is actually nothing. Make the catch up on the next day. So as much as I would love to say it's once a week, I have never actually been able to do it 2 weeks in a row because life is busy. But I know that my body battery can be at 13%. And then after a 0 day, it jumps up to 97%. And you know what? Because I've forced myself not to work, I'm excited to work the next day. I'm excited to catch up with friends the next day. It makes it that you're almost like delaying pleasure kind of thing. But in fact, you're just filling your cup up. Now, I know some of the mums who'd be listening will be like, oh, yeah, that's great, but I've got kids. I can't do a 0 day. So one of my girlfriends who's got young kids has decided that once a month they have a family 0 day, and it's 0 kids go out and 0 kids come over. So it's not running them to sports or dropping them off at a friend's house or having a friend over for a play date, because that's exhausting. That's still work. So a 0 day is when you bunker down and it's board games or watching TV or PlayStation or whatever you want to do. 1 day, just 1 day, give it a go.
I'm even thinking you could have like a 0 afternoon. Like for the mums that are really busy, sometimes I race home from the office and I'll get home for say 2:30. And I know my daughter doesn't get off the school bus till 4. And I'll go lie on the bed. I'll put the phone in the other room. I'll get snuggly and I'll just snooze for an hour because I am a nana nap fan. And I can also recalibrate really quickly just from an hour. So it could be a 0 hour even if life feels
you know what? This is the thing. I've called it a 0 day. You call it what you want. If it's a 0 hour that you grab here or there, it will still help. So just do what you can to recharge yourself.
So, Shelly, the last thing I do on my podcast is I ask 5 fast questions, snap answers only. What is one word to describe you that would surprise people?
Country girl.
Ooh, I
grew up in Kingaroy, country Queensland,
peanut
population
girl.
5,000. Peanuts, yeah.
I love it.
Not many people. So I've gone from the red soil to the red carpet, yeah.
I love it. What's one word to describe running a business?
Roller coaster. So many ups, so many downs. Sometimes it's super fast. Sometimes you're just waiting with anticipation. But also, roller coasters are fun.
Mostly, until you vomit.
Mostly. A little bit terrifying sometimes.
What's the first thing you do when you feel stuck?
So this has changed since Peri. I do a weights class. So I find if my head is really busy and I'm stuck, if I go and lift heavy shit, as in proper weights, I get this huge sense of achievement. I get a bit of a endorphin rush, and I don't think about work because I'm concentrating when I'm in there, and I come out feeling lighter and clearer, and I often just go, oh, that's how I'll solve that problem. The answers come.
That is a surprising answer. I love that. What is a brand you're obsessed with right now?
Besides Motto, who we've spoken about, Buoy Beauty with Celeste Barber. So she sent me some products, and I just love the no bullshit, no nonsense, just shit that works and shit that you can use quickly. So I don't want to do a 14-step routine skincare at night. So I really like that.
And what's your biggest life lesson in one sentence?
It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice.
Ooh, I love that. That sounds like a well-used statement.
I've used that a lot. Yes.
Yes.
Particularly working in the media, there can be some pretty nasty folk that you deal with. And I'm like, do not be mean to the makeup artist, and then expect everyone to love you when you're on camera. Like, Be nice. It's not that freaking hard.
Totally. Guys, listening today, if you've loved this episode, whether you're on Apple or Spotify, make sure you hit that follow button so we can let you know when the next episode of She Talks drops. And Shelly, I could listen to you all day. Your voice is an absolutely angelic, melodic, therapeutic voice of reason in the world out there. And it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of She Talks. I hope today's conversation sparked ideas, gave you strategies you can put into action, and reminded you that you're never alone on this journey. If you loved this episode, head over to shecom.co for today's show notes, exclusive freebies, and special offers from our sponsors. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you never miss a future episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and most importantly, keep talking.